Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. My name is King-Kodiak and I'm going to be doing a small video here on the upcoming F1 2019 just to show what it's like to kind of jump in and get on with it. There's been a variety of videos showcasing what we can expect come F1 2019 and the various, the addition of the F2 cars, the classic cars involved, the menu layouts, the career mode, etc. There's lots of that. But what I wanted to do was something a little bit different. Now, anyone that has seen myself commentate will know I don't race in the F1 games. And that's not through any kind of hatred, partly time constraints, but partly as I have always been terrible at them, and I have no bones about admitting that. I choose the commentary box for a reason. But I wanted to kind of just highlight how, as a beginner driver, or maybe someone who's less experienced, can just get in and get on with it. Now, I've done a tiny little bit of tinkering. I've made sure my steering wheel is working correctly. The pad optimizations are absolutely there for this game as well, so don't feel you have to have the latest equipment in steering wheels. I have a very basic steering wheel, very old steering wheel at that. So this thing cost me 60 quid 4 years ago, I think it was, off of eBay. So it's certainly nothing top-notch quality. But you can race on a keyboard if that was your only option. You can race on a pad, and there are still some very competitive drivers out there that use those various control methods. So if you're contemplating, even if you've never had an F1 game before, if you're looking to get into F1 2019 as your entry level into the F1 franchise, I would really recommend doing so. That sounds like a little bit of salesman speech, and you can certainly accuse me of that, but I am not one to recommend something that I can't do myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump into one of the F2 cars and do a little bit of time trialing at Silverstone. Now, as I've already mentioned, I'm not an experienced driver. I do have driver aid set. You'll quite obviously see the racing line is being on. Choose Carling. They're all the same car, although the artwork, of course, is different. But they look magnificent in this. They're very well represented in the particular thing. I'm going to go with Silverstone. I'm British, so I'm rather duty bound to go with Silverstone in a sense. So, the purpose of this video is just to show that you can just get in and get on with it. You don't have to tinker with lots of settings. You don't have to do lots of optimizations or really anything. You can just get in and get on with it, which is exactly what I like from racing games as well. So I'm not one to try and find the ideal setup. I have no criticism of people that like to do that sort of thing. I just don't have time to do it. But also the type of racing that I personally enjoy doesn't really necessitate that. But if you were certainly looking at league racing, the type of stuff that I commentate on, I've been doing that for several years now. Over the last 3 games, I've clocked up over 220 commentary hours. So I know the level of dedication that our league racers put into this. But there is nothing to say that you have to pour every single waking hour. If you can and you want to, please do. But like I say, the purpose of this video is just to say you don't have to have that behind you to get into F1 2019. And here is an absolute showcase as to what I mean. I certainly don't have that level of driving expertise. Of those 220 hours I put into the previous games, I've probably driven no more than 20 minutes over all of those hours. So this is proof. Essentially, it's a proof of you don't have to pour lots of time into settings and what have you. So here is time trialing. I'm using one of the F2 cars, new showcase of new element added to F1 2019, and I will be very slow compared to the pros. Like I say, I do have driver aids enabled. They are set to there's several preset levels essentially. Mine is set to experienced, so there's a lot of room forward, but there's still room backwards. You needed more assistance in braking or throttle control. You can see my previous Ghost there wandering off the road, and me doing so right now in control. But like I say, the purpose of this is to reassure those that maybe haven't been in the F1 series for a while or haven't had that previous experience. Don't be put off by that. I am a pretty ham-fisted driver, by and large. And again, no bones about admitting that. And I can jump into this after literally minutes, just 5 minutes probably. I spent just doing some laps, probably 2 laps in each car that I tried before recording this video, just to make sure everything worked. And the authenticity as well that's been put into audio and visuals is something we come to expect from Codemasters, of course, but the F2 cars is a recent addition that hasn't been featured in the F1 series before, and I can certainly vouch that's where I went horribly wrong in my previous Ghost, just flying over Meccas and Beckers there. But, I can certainly vouch for the fact that these F2 cars really do sound very authentic. Anyone that's seen my commentaries will know that I've mentioned a few times I have been to Silverstone. I was at Silverstone last year, and it was the first thing I saw. Actually, was the F2 cars doing their thing on the Friday morning. So there we go. That's 147.7. Fourth on the current leaderboard. Well, that would obviously change upon official release. At the time of recording, the game yet to be released. A new car setup is available. That's fine. So there's lots of ways that the game tries to aid you in various things. But if you just want to get in and get on with it, the game is very much engineered towards that. I'm just going to finish this lap, and then I'm going to also demonstrate what the classic cars are like to jump in and get on with, because those things can be very, very lively in any racing sim. I've driven some of them in different games, but not all of them. It's quite an oops, that's very wide. Yeah, it's quite an impressive collection that's been included. Those familiar with the previous game will recognise quite a number of them, as most of the ones from the last game have been included. Now sometimes when you get the Ghost's accompaniments, as you can see ahead, they can be almost too intrusive. I find these to be quite well balanced. But some people prefer not to have them there, and I can appreciate that. And again, there are options to not have them there at all. There we go, that's a couple of laps of Silverstone in the F2 car. So now what we're going to do is just switch over to the classic cars. So there's quite a range of them. So 72, that's Emerson Fittipaldi's Lotus. The Ferrari 312 T2, that is Niki Lauda's Constructors' Championship winning car from 76. The McLaren 23D, that's James Hunt's car. 1978, the Lotus 79, the 300 T4, and there's lots of real pivotal cars throughout the series, throughout the seasons, as you can see. As a bit of a Formula One anorak, I'm going to go with the. I'm going to go with one of the Ferraris. I'm going to go with the 1979 T4, I think. So let's restart this one, and again. These cars would be quite unforgiving in normal circumstances. So, yeah, in some simulations that are very sort of more hardcore in nature, you wouldn't be able to just jump in and drive it. You would be forever altering things and just getting used to how ferocious some of these cars can be. But like I said, the purpose of this is to show how well this game caters to those that don't have that kind of experience behind them. Now with these classic cars you do have to be a bit more gentle on the gas. Whoops, and there we go, the tail wanted to let go. Now again, the purists will not, the purists will criticise my pace, and I will happily take that criticism, and also the view that I'm using. This is of course the TV pod view. You can alter this, of course. There's a variety of different camera views available. It's right on the nose, and of course in the cockpit. But for the purpose of this showcase, I'm going to whoops, and there we go. That's the tail letting go, or wanting to let go on me there. So yes, the classic cars need a bit more concentration, but by no means need a wealth of experience behind you before you try them. So again, the purpose of making that particular point is those of you that may not have the experience behind you but really want to get into the classic cars, it is certainly possible to do. Lovely sound, wonderful sensation of speed, of course. Whoa, again, I put the toe down a little too early there, and the tail wanted to let go on me. Now, from a league racing perspective, again, I refer to AOR as I am their head commentator and have, as previously mentioned, put in quite a number of hours into the commentary side of things. We do have leagues that cater to using assists if you need them, particularly if you're at entry level. We have a wide range of leagues catering to a wide skill set, so I would always implore you to try it. Let nothing hold you back. Don't think, oh, I'm not good enough. Just, you would absolutely, oh dear, lovely bit of tail wagging going on there. I'm very much an advocate of give it a try. If you have the time to put into doing, me being heavy-footed there again. If you have the time to put into to league racing, to learning and to improving, absolutely give it a try. Even if you're on a bit more of a tighter time schedule, there is no harm in trying it. We will always welcome new drivers into our leagues. So we'll finish this lap and then we'll jump into the modern day car. Again, this is a demonstration on how they're represented in this game. No DRS, of course, on this old Ferrari. Oh, steady. Into the final few turns. Whoops, again, just got a little throttle happy there. There we go. So finally, as mentioned, we will demonstrate how the modern cars have been highlighted. I'll stick with the Mercedes for the purpose of this demonstration. And we'll give a shakedown of the Mercedes around this lovely circuit of Silverstone. Here we go. Of course, the halo being represented. I would say of the three cars, or three categories of car, the F2, the Classic and the F1s, this is probably the easiest to jump in and go with. But that will of course vary with experience and driver style and what have you. When you've driven the other cars, you have to kind of unlearn the previous one. And oh, yeah, I got that wrong. You have to unlearn the previous car to relearn the new one. But again, This, you know, the ability to be able to jump in and go is definitely catered to, along with those that like to, you know, find that optimum setup, turn all the driver aids off and what have you. You know, really become one with the machinery. Drive it as it was meant to be driven. You could say, "Oh, I got that all wrong." Yeah, I certainly won't be lighting up the leaderboards. Oh, I've done it again. There's little details on the, you know, you can hear the way that the sort of various parts of the engine will react when you change down very hurriedly and things like that. Insane levels of downforce as well, certainly compared to the classic cars. There we go. So that's 2 laps in the 3 category car, the modern F1, the F2 and the classic. Just to kind of highlight that you can just get in and get on with it. You don't have to have that level of experience behind you that you may initially think. It's going to be your first F1 game. Again, I would implore you to give it a try, and that's going to conclude this video. It's quite short, but it demonstrated exactly what was needed to get across. If you're in doubt, jump in and grab it is what I would suggest to you. And thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, comment and all that good stuff. And when the league starts, I'll see you trackside.